Okay, folks, this is a short video about knowing the unit circle and getting good at it. Okay, the first thing we want to do is go around the unit circle in degrees. So I'm going to use this set of blanks right here. 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, and then 360 degrees. All right, let's deal with these degrees right here. Of course, we're going up by 30, so that would be 30, then 60. Okay, that makes sense. Of course, this is 45, halfway in between. Let's put the 45s around the circle. 45, this is 135. 45 and 180 is 225. And then 45 from 360 is 315. All right, let's do these. This reference angle is 30, so that has to be 150. This reference angle is 60, so it's got to be 120. Let's add another 30, that's 210. Let's add another 30, that's 240. Let's add another 30, that's 270. Let's add another 30, that's 300. Let's add another 30, that's 330. All right, so there are your angle measures in degrees. Okay, let's go around the circle, but this time in radians. Now we know 0 radians is right here, and we know this is pi. We also know this is pi over 2. I'm going to just kind of use a little blank as a division, okay? And another pi over 2 would be 3 pi over 2. And then to go all the way around would be 2 pi. That makes sense? All right, let's go up by 4s. This would have to be pi over 4. This would have to be 3 pi over 4. 4 pi over 4, which is just pi. This is 5 pi over 4. 6 pi over 4. 7 pi over 4. And this is 8 pi over 4, which is 2 pi. All right, now let's go up by 6. When I say by 6, we're going up by 30 degrees, which is pi over 6. So this is 1 pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, which is pi over 3, 3 pi over 6, which is really pi over 2, 4 pi over 6, which is 2 pi over 3, 5 pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, 6 pi over 6, which is pi, 7 pi over 6, 8 pi over 6, which is 4 pi over 3, 9 pi over 6, which is 3 pi over 2, 10 pi over 6, which is 5 pi over 3, and 11 pi over 6, got to be careful how you write that, okay? All right, and then you got 12 pi over 6, which is 2 pi. All right, so this takes care of the angles in degrees and in radian. Okay, now if you remember the two special triangles, okay, we're going to use those ideas to go around the unit circle. And remember, we're finding the y first, the sine. Remember, the sine is the y. So here the y value is 0. Remember, this is a circle with a radius of 1. Here the y value is 1. Here the y value is 0, negative 1. That should make sense. Now, 45 degrees is really like 0.71 if you do that on your calculator. Radical 2 over 2. Now this particular height is the same over here, so this is going to be radical 2 over 2. Now 30 degrees is 1/2. We've seen that many, many times. So that means this is 1/2. Now these values are the same height from the x-axis, but in a negative direction. So I'm just going to put negative 1/2 here and negative 1/2 here. Now, this is a 60-degree angle here, so it's radical 3 over 2. Go back and review your special triangles. That height is also over here, radical 3 over 2. So now what we're going to do is just go around and make sure we got all of the y values in here. Okay, this is negative radical 2 over 2, and this is negative radical 3 over 2. You could copy these over here. So this is going to be negative radical 2 over 2, and then negative radical 3 over 2. That should make sense. All right, now let's do the cosine. On the cosine, okay, I like to use blue, okay? So here, the x value, which is cosine, is 1. Here it's 0. Here it's negative 1. Here it is 0. So another way of saying this is x is equal to cosine of theta. Y is equal to sine of theta. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now let's go around here. We know that the x value here is going to be between 0 and 1, and it's going to be smaller. That's 1/2. Here, this x value is on the left side, so it's negative 1/2. Here, the x value is 1/2, but it's still negative. And then here, it's positive again, okay? So in other words, this dot right here and this dot right here have the same x value. All right, now keep in mind what you learned about the triangles. This obviously has to be radical 2 over 2. This is negative radical 2 over 2. This is negative radical 2 over 2. And this is radical 2 over 2, okay? All right, the only other thing is the 30 degrees. Now remember, at this coordinate right here, the x is bigger than the y. So radical 3 over 2, negative radical 3 over 2, negative radical 3 over 2, and radical 3 over 2. All right, now notice I have all of the degrees, all the radian measures of the angles. I have the coordinates of all of the points around the unit circle. So this is the basic deal. I encourage you to make sure you know the values, the angles, and the signs. Now, try to remember this little statement. All students take calculus. So what that means is all the sine, cosine, and tangent are all positive here. All students, that means just the sine is positive, everybody else is negative. Take, that means the tangent's positive, everybody else is negative. And calculus, the cosine's positive, everybody else is negative. So please be mindful of this. This is a basic overview of how to practice a unit circle. I would do this over and over and over until you're able to complete it all in one setting. That would be my best advice for you. I wish you well.